Hello and welcome back to the channel, My Life's Toil. This is take 2 because I tried to do this last week and it didn't go to plan, but here I am back at the gym and I'm going to talk to you a bit of a review about how my first year, not quite a year yet, it won't be until February, that I've been on Mounjaro for a year, but I'm doing it from the gym like I tried to do last week, but it didn't go to plan. And I wanted to put it out Wednesday this week, but that didn't go to plan either, so apologies for that. But it hopefully will be an interesting bit of a review, things I'd do differently if I was starting this journey all over again. And it's sort of aimed at helping people that are thinking about doing Mounjaro and trying to take a little bit of control of their own lives, like I did earlier this year, like I say, February. And been a bit of an eventful week. Dad's been in hospital again, so apologies for not being able to get the video out, but trying to pick back up on it now. So we'll basically have a little wander around the gym. It's not a gym video, although it will be, but it's not about me doing the exercises. It's just me being in a different environment really, and just going through a few things and how I might change things, how I feel it's gone, and just a little bit of advice from my point of view and how it's helped me really. So come along and see what you think. Right, warm-up's done. I've done 10 minutes on the cycle just to get me warmed up. Now straight into basically do an all-over workout. So try and mix it up over 3 days in the week, but just all body parts basically, because the machines here are so in demand. You just get on what you can when you can. But it's not about that today. It's more about me just talking about my journey while I'm doing this. So what I wanted to say was, what would I do differently? First of all though, just a little bit of a reminder as to why I am here. And I don't mean just at the gym, but basically why I'm doing this journey. And the basic reasons behind it were, after having some sort of injuries, my knee, had surgery on that last year after a tour. Well, I severed my patella tendon, which is the one that basically holds the upper leg, the quads to the bottom of the leg. So I had no use of that until I had the surgery. That was playing football while I was overweight, which wasn't the best thing to have done at the time. But it was a vain attempt to get myself back in some sort of shape without having lost any weight first, and just went into it like an idiot. Too heavy, all in one go. Running along, playing with my son, my youngest son, and a load of his mates, thinking I could still do it. Went down like a sack of spuds, and here we are. But that's healed well, so that's why I'm able to do still what I am able to do now. And it's healing well. I'll go through that more in depth. People that watch the channel anyway will be aware of that anyway. I also had back surgery about 15 years ago. The disc impingement, which a lot of people have. It's quite a routine thing these days, isn't it? Most people know it as sciatica, where the disc impinges on the sciatic nerve. I had 2 of them. Surgery seemed quite good on that, although you still have to manage the pain and things like that. But I think the more pressing problems were earlier this year, when my blood pressure was dangerously high, and my cholesterol also very, very high. So much so that I did start medication for it, but it just didn't suit me at all. So I really took a different view, did some research into Mounjaro, which is why I'm here now. And Mounjaro has worked really well for me, and I know it doesn't work well for some people, but that's what has given me my life back basically, and that's what's been able to get me back down doing things like I'm doing now. For those people that know, during my journey where I've lost 7 stone of my total weight on Mounjaro, one of the big things that's helped me with my sweet tooth that I've discussed many times, especially around picking for chocolate and sweet snacks, has been the SUPRIVA flavour powder. And the people from SUPRIVA have been really good to the channel. They've given a discount. If you use my name and you want to try SUPRIVA, when you get to the checkout, just enter Neil, and you'll get 10% off any orders that you put through with them. And it's got some really good feedback from the people that use the channel as well. SUPRIVA tell us that any of their 3 flavours
vanilla. We also have the milk chocolate. And the first one I tried was butter biscuit because that was my early favourite. It's now vanilla. I use this now in the flapjacks that I do. And I also, this is the second pot I've had. I also use it in my overnight oats when I have oats in the morning, but it makes them really interesting. I put the milk chocolate in milk and make it into a milkshake. That also goes into a coffee for me, and it tastes like you're having a mocha, but there's so much you can do with them. Basically, they're saying that a scoop of this is equivalent in taste to having 16 sugars, so you hardly need anything. Now, this small pot will go a long way and lasts for a long time. The calories in it, so one scoop literally has about 7 calories per scoop. Compare that to what the sugar would be giving us. So it's a really good alternative. Give it a go, see what you think. You'll get a 10% discount if you put Neil in the checkout.
So on the 26th of Feb, 2025, I took the first dose of Mounjaro, 2.5 milligrams, and felt the effects almost immediately, same day. Had a really warm glow feeling. If you look back at that first video, which I'll put a little clip of to show you so you can see the comparison.
Hello everybody and welcome to my channel, where it's another health channel.
Yeah, I don't like looking back at them. I don't like looking at myself on video the best of times, but it helps. So it helps me, helps you, hopefully. I always vowed, working in the medical field anyway, knew a little bit about the doses, and doctors that I worked alongside were really a bit cautious about the effects of these weight loss injections and also the adverse effects that they can have, especially in the higher doses. So my plan was to always stay on a low dose, which I've managed to maintain that. And I always will. And I'm on a maintenance dose now, which I'll talk about a little bit later in the video. But I got started and noticed the weight coming off almost immediately without doing a fat lot of exercise. But early on, realised that a lot of people were advising you needed to get down the gym or at least do some sort of resistance training, because as well as fat, you'll be losing muscle mass as well. And that's one thing that I've noticed in a massive way. So early on, actually about March, April time, I did come down here in the gym, but I felt really uncomfortable about coming. You just feel that the eyes are on you, people are watching you, and they're not. It's only this last month or so that I've had the courage to actually come. I mean, for God's sakes, I'm videoing down here now. And people don't watch you like you think they are. I'm not interested in looking at anyone else apart from what I'm doing. And I think that goes for most people as well. I've had one person come up to me and ask him if I'm a vlogger. One. And I haven't filmed. I did try and film last week, but it all went wrong. So, not much of a technophobe, unfortunately. But one thing that I will say, reflecting back, is the confidence that I've had. Just to be able to do things like this now has been really good, and I think that's something you need to take into consideration, because there's a lot of people that watch the channel. I know they struggle. Some people struggle with just getting outside the front door. I've had a lot of messages about that. A lot of people going through a bad time, and I feel really bad for them, and I try and give as much positivity as I can around that. So, but the other thing is, I'm just talking about not being able to get to the gym. As you know, if you look back at some of the videos, you'll see that I set up in the back garden on the deck, and I had some really fairly good home equipment. I had a fold-up bench, I had set dumbbells, and a few other very light weights, and it got me started, and I saw some positive effects from that. And it's doing something, and I think that's the important thing. Just do something. And I do promise that I'm going to do more to do with the people that can't do a lot. Keep promising to release the exercise from the armchair scenario, and I will do that, because I think that'll be invaluable to some people as well. One of the interesting issues around the Mounjaro and any of the weight loss, and I've tried the Wegovy, as you know, briefly as a maintenance, and it didn't work out for me, was getting around doing the actual injections. And as a medical professional, a paramedic, which I am, found it fairly straightforward even to inject myself. But the unusual thing is that I had a bit of a mind fart the other week, and I wasn't able to inject myself. And I don't know what that was about, but I ended up getting Rachel to do my injection into my abdomen for me. And I honestly, must have been a moment of anxiety or something, which can happen to any of us. But I got over it and I've been doing it fine ever since. And again, I'll talk more about the doses that I'm on a bit later on. But basically what I'd say, if you've got one of the weight loss jab pens in your fridge, or if you've got one on order and you're not sure when you're going to start, and you're thinking of starting it sometime in the future and you haven't got a date, make that date today. Seriously, you've thought about taking this journey now and you've gone as far as having the pen in the fridge. Like I've had numerous, hundreds of people telling me, oh well, I've had a pen in the fridge and I'm not sure when to do it. I'm planning to do it. Now's the day. Don't waste time, because if I could have done this 10 years ago, 20 years ago, if it had been available then, I'd have done it. That's one thing, that's one reflection I'd look back on and say, so now's the time to do that, to be honest with you. I just wish this was around years ago, and I think a lot of people my age, older, even younger than me, just wish that they could have done that a long time ago, but it's here now, and some people call it a miracle drug. To a certain extent, I think it is. The same with the exercise plan. Get started now. I was speaking to a guy that messages me quite often, and the plan with him was to get down to a certain weight and then start adding an exercise regime into that, whether that be cardio or resistance training of some sorts. But time is now. Get moving straight away. Because I'm the same, to be honest with you. I will make plans to do things and I say, oh, I'm going to do that next week. Oh yeah, I'll start it then. And even on the day, I'll be like, well, maybe tomorrow. And I'm not that motivated like that. So sometimes I really need to push myself. And if I can help, just do it now. So that's one thing I will say is important. Tomorrow is today. The funny thing is, when you do the exercise, you get this release of all the chemicals in the brain, and you do actually enjoy it. If you're not getting a bit of an ache at the start, make sure that you do it gently from the start. And always take advice about any medical changes. If you're going to start the jabs, make sure you spoke to your doctor or someone medically that knows you well. And the same with the training. Don't just jump into it, and make sure you know what you're doing. If you've never done it before, so you can take up some sort of initial introduction to it with a PT. It doesn't cost a fortune, and just one session might be all you need just to get you started. And there's plenty of advice out there on YouTube to look at as well. So it's always worth just getting that right advice too. My next tip, looking back now from my own observations, is that if you're paying all this money out for Mounjaro, and if you're lucky enough to get it on the NHS or prescribed or for your insurance, brilliant, well done you. But the big tip would be, don't expect it to do all the work for you. These weight loss jabs are a tool for us to help us lose the weight, get in shape, become healthier, get fit, live a bit longer. That's what it's about. Don't expect to be able to just take these jabs and to drop the weight without doing any work. Yeah, there's people out there, I've had messages and comments from people that eat the same, drink the same, do very little. Lucky them, but that won't last forever. It's about trying to adopt a new lifestyle, basically. And unless you want a new lifestyle and a healthy lifestyle, it's not for you. And lucky you if it does work, because I know people close to home, family, friends, that can't understand why these weight loss jabs aren't working. And when you go out and see them, or if you spend any time with them, yeah, they're drinking the full fat pot, they're still having sugars in their tea and the coffee. They don't adapt their diet at all. Yeah, they eat a little bit less because the suppression's there. But they expect the Mounjaro just to work wonders on their body and just to filter the sugar through the system. It doesn't work like that. For me, it's about using that suppression to eat healthy. I still have loads of treats. God, I had a bag of Revels last night. If you don't know what Revels are, look it up. one of my favourite chocolates apart from Cadbury's. But it's part of what I do. I don't do that every night. The old me would have ate Cadbury's every night in bed. But I've used the opportunity now to just become healthier and still enjoy those treats. We've all said that on this channel along the way, a long time. You've got to have the treats and you've got to enjoy your food, because if you don't enjoy your food, if you let the suppression take over, life becomes boring, life becomes hard, especially around the dieting side of things. Because let's face it, as much as we don't like the word diet, it is a diet. Our whole life of eating is a diet, isn't it? And from that leads me on to quite an important point, really. And it doesn't have to get technical or scientific, but I think it's really advisable to count your calories. There's loads of free apps out there, and there's loads of really cheap apps as well. I was showed the MyFitnessPal, which I initially used, but then I moved on to the NutriCheck app, which I then paid a very small fee for the whole year. And I use it every day now, to be honest with you. Sometimes I'll skip a day or two, or try and skip a day when I just think I haven't got the motivation, but I tend to catch up with it. And I don't count the calories on a daily basis so much now. It's more of a weekly basis. So like yesterday and Saturday, although it tends to be one of my jab days, it also tends to be a bit of a day up that I don't necessarily count the calories so religiously. And what I mean by that is I'll more than likely go over on a Saturday, and that might be like a takeout night, or like yesterday it was a bag of Rebels as a treat. I went to the football yesterday. I had to go and see my dad in hospital, so it's a bit of a busy day yesterday. So although I did have breakfast in the morning, which I usually don't do, I ate later on the night as well. But you can work out what your body needs to be in a calorie deficit, and then try and aim for around that on a daily basis, or even minimize. Don't do what I did early on, whereas I went well below the calories I should have been taking. Make yourself a little bit ill with it. And on that note, hydration is really important as well. One of the things that I'm still a little bit guilty of is not drinking enough water. And to be fair, I've come to the gym today. I haven't brought my water out with me, which is foolish. I haven't really had a lot to drink today, but I'm not going to be pushing it too much, and I'm taking the time while I'm here, to be totally fair with you. So hydration is key as well. It's interesting because I've been probably back down the gym only for about 4 or 5 weeks, I think it is now. And I've not really been pushing it. I had that one incident where I nearly collapsed over there, or I think I did collapse. I remember just coming round on the floor, although I did put myself on the floor because I felt that dizzy. But the one thing I've noticed about the gym, and I have been taking it easy since then, because like I said on the video at the time, I thought I could come back, get into it like a 16-year-old, and you forget that you're 53 and can't quite do what you did before. But that's getting so much better, only within weeks. If you look at where I was, how I looked, and even on my early videos, I was talking to the camera and I'd be out of breath, of hearing me breathing. It's sound like Darth Vader. No copyright intended. And that's so much manageable now. This gym here is on it's on 2nd floor height. And there's like about 4 flights of stairs that come up here. And even just coming up in the early days when I came to this gym, when I've been here before trying to get myself in some sort of shape in the past. And it felt like I'd had a workout before I even started, just by coming up the stairs. So, tells you a lot, doesn't it? That was my warm-up. But I'm noticing such a difference now. And I'm on a low weight. I'm not going to show you all about the machines. I will do a little bit of, when I've got Ben with me, my son, we'll do a little bit more of the workouts that we do to give people an idea if they're interested just in what I do. And it's not to say that my workout will work for everyone. It's just an enjoyable workout that works my whole body. I do a little bit of cardio to start with, do mostly machines with a few free weights for an hour or so, and then a warm down with a bit of cardio as well. But and I'm not intending on going to a high weight, although my body's sort of pushing for that. So what I'm trying to do, instead of going more up the weights, is just introducing maybe another set and a few more reps instead. but still taking it easy and not getting ahead of yourself like I often do. I think one of the things I've noticed that about 4 months into the journey, I had a bit of an infection and we weren't sure where it was. And I haven't really mentioned this on the channel so much, but I did have blood tests at the time and I had some abnormal liver readings, which could have been attributed down to the drugs, to the Mounjaro. But I did have some infection markers as well, so my CRP was raised, my white blood cells as well, and I had some growths in a not so nice area for men. So I was on some fairly long-term antibiotics for that. And I did have a little break from the Mounjaro for a little while. And then I went down a dose when I came back onto it. And touch wood, that's been all right since. And I've not really discussed that, so that's what was going on there for the people that do watch the channel. And it's a little bit of an ongoing issue, but I've also had that came back benign. If you didn't catch that, that was the skin cancer scare. But something to watch out for, and even doctors at work now are still, is that okay? And I'm like, yeah, it's fine, it's been checked. But like I say, get things checked. And the other thing we're going to talk about a little bit today is about supplements. Now, I mentioned earlier on my journey with the supplements, and everyone was saying, take this, take that, you'll need all this. You sort of fall into that trap a little bit. As you're fairly healthy and young, and you're eating well, and you're eating balanced diets, you really shouldn't need much more than the food you eat and the water that you drink. But it's not a bad idea to throw a few things in. Like, I am taking quite a few supplements again now. One, because my bowels don't play ball. And again, for the people who do watch, you know about my constipation issues. That's one of the big issues with Mounjaro for me, and Wegovy. So I'm back on the take the magnesium supplements, the 3-in-1, which is the tablet form. But I'm also taking multivitamin gummies, which I've been on for about a month. And you know what? I think there's something in them, because everybody in the last few weeks in my household has had really, really bad verging on flu type symptoms, which they're getting over now. Rachel suffered a bit, Dan had it, and so did Ben. I had a bit of a sniffle, and that's about as much as I had. So I was quite pleased that, and I'll put this down to the vitamins. This was only like a week or two back, and I'm touching wood that I'm not going to get it now. I've said that. Did have a little bit of a sore throat, but nothing like what the others had. So there may be something in the vitamins that I've been taking. And I've also been taking the psyllium husk again in a gummy form. Has anyone tried that? I'm not sure if that's been helping me. I'm on about a week of taking that, the psyllium and the husk. It's not really made any difference to my bowels, to be honest with you, but I'll give it time. And I am trying to hydrate more as well. And I do take the creatine powder with the collagen, which someone on here recommended to me. And there's a really nice flavour. I think I may have mentioned this before, but if you're interested, if you are working out and you want to take the creatine to help you recover better, it helps with muscle recovery. I can put a link in there. I'll put pictures of everything I'm taking as well as I discuss it. So if you're interested in going down that route, as we get older, I think it's a good idea maybe to have some other supplements, especially the multivitamins. I think that has been a big help to me, to be honest with you. But it's not a must. You don't have to do it. The only must is that if you're on these journeys and you are losing weight, is to do some exercise. Let's move on to the next machine. So what are the positives about losing the weight that I've lost? Well, I've lost basically 7 stone. And I just feel so much better. You actually do feel lighter. It's quite a good weight loss, wasn't it? Between the February and now sort of end of November. And I reached my goal weeks ago. So it's just maintaining for me. And yeah, I've had the comments from family that I've already lost too much weight. And a lot of people on the channel or on the community have mentioned, because they know the old me. And it's just so different for them, really. They just see this new me. And it's funny, really, because when I met Rachel, it was the skinniest time of my life. I was a skinny teenager, although I weighed more then. than what I do now. So this is the lightest I have been as an adult. I'm about 91 kilos now, and I just honestly can't remember the last time I was 91 kilos, considering I've been at like well over 130, probably heading towards 132 kilos, I think. Certainly been more than 22 stone at the heaviest, although I was 21 when I started in stone. So, my sleep is a little bit better than it used to be. My breathing's better. My heart's better. My blood pressure's normal. Still waiting to do my cholesterol. Got to get blood tests done because that was still up the last time I checked on. But improving. And I think I look better. Some people do feel a little bit gaunt, maybe. But I think as long as you feel good and it suits you, why let what other people say worries you? Any negatives? A humorous negative, I suppose, is that I'm about to spend a small fortune in new clothes because some of my old clothes literally hang off me. And I had an issue yesterday where I just couldn't find anything that fitted. Some of the stuff looks like socks on me now if you put it on, and that sounds ridiculous, but it's an issue. But on the whole, no, the negatives. There's no real negatives. What negatives can there be about feeling better and being healthier and losing the weight, living a bit longer? I suppose the negative from the family's point of view is that I'll be around them a bit more. One of the big questions I get, and one of the most often asked questions is, will I be on this for life? And still not sure, but I have tried time off. As you know, I tried time off Mounjaro while I still had Mounjaro in the fridge. And that was sort of a planned thing, so that if I had an issue about being off it, I'd fall back on it again. And it didn't take long, although I swapped to Wegovy, didn't I, for a time, so I didn't really give it a full run. But the Wegovy didn't really work for me. But looking back, in a way, I wish I'd started Wegovy. They pressed onto Mounjaro, but knowing that Mounjaro worked well for me, quite happy the way around that I've done it. I just know that Wegovy isn't for me, and a lot of people have that, but a lot of people get a lot of success with Wegovy, so don't rule it out, and don't rule it out as a maintenance plan as well. But my concern is that I think I'll need Mounjaro in some form or another as a bit of a maintenance. But I think looking to the future, some of these oral tablets that are going to be coming out hopefully shortly, maybe in the next 12 months or so, that's something that I think we could really look at, especially if people don't like doing the jabs as well. So there's lots of options coming up for everybody really. Yeah, I do think that it won't be just yet coming off it, but I do need to look ahead. And that willpower comes and goes, doesn't it? I think when you're feeling really positive at the start of your journey, hitting good goals, getting good results, the willpower is there readily. But when you have a little bit of a stall or a plateau, which we see a lot, it's difficult to keep it up, especially if we're reliant on something like I certainly am. But let's see. It's a huge holes. But at the moment, I'll be honest for a while. So that's where it leads me up to about the dosing really. Now I started back on the Mounjaro and I was trying to get by on the 2.5 milligrams, which I was doing twice a week, but I wanted to do them every 5 days. But I quickly realised that wasn't going to work, so we went up to 3.75 that I had been on. And I'm doing it twice a week again. The last couple of weeks I've been doing 3.7, so basically on what I finished on. 7 milligram doses, 7.5 milligram doses. I'm losing track. So that's where I am at the moment, and that's just to maintain me eating healthy and being able to come out and do this. I want to talk a little bit about the side effects. Now, as I always say, the big side effects, which I'll put up here for you to look at, any serious changes to your well-being, pain, unwell, you need to be seen by someone. And if it's serious abdomen pain that you're getting, that doesn't wait for a GP or physician appointment tomorrow morning. That's a A&E now. Because we know the risks, especially if you're on a higher dose of the Mounjaro. We know what potential is with side effects is there. So, but then there's those troublesome side effects, which I think I've had just about all of them. Early days, the nausea, a little bit of vomiting, only on the Wegovy. But I attributed those side effects more to I had horrific sulfur burps. And I know it sounds horrible, but that's like farting out your mouth. And I tend to get them. It's ridiculous, I know, sorry to put it bluntly as I have. But I tend to get them in the early hours. I wake up with them. Doesn't matter what time I eat. If I finish eating earlier in the day and drink plenty of fluids, I could take antacids. I still get them now. And when I work out like down here, I get them as well. So, but for me, that's a small price to pay. But the big issue on the small side effects for me is the constipation. Doesn't seem to matter what I do, what I take. I just get it. And it doesn't bother me to the fact that it's causing me any great harm. But it's almost like a thing I'm living with now. And it just sort of saves itself up from one day out, a good clear out, and start again. So that's basically it. But, do you remember that video I did earlier on off the makeup? Or I did a humorous video, a little short, about side effects. I thought it was funny. And you've got to find humour in what you do. Might be a good idea to update you about how Dan's getting on as well. And for those people that might be new here, I have a son that's got special needs, Dan. He's 28, he's a big lad, and he's featured on the channel a little bit lately. Dan is now on, and about 5 weeks in, I think, to his own Mounjaro journey, of which we're hoping to just keep him on 2.5 milligram jabs. Dan has learning difficulties. He's basically got minor 4-year-old. He's also epileptic, so he's on medication for that. High blood pressure, like cholesterol, much like his dad, and quite overweight. Dan is 1 pound off, 1 stone, and he's eating really healthy. He knows when to stop. So if he's eating his dinner, we're making sure he has balanced foods. We've had one hiccup this week where I caught him raiding the not so plentiful treats drawer, which he hasn't done that for weeks. So we had words, but it was towards the end of his jab, and Dan is only having 2.5s every 7 days, which is how it's intended to be given, isn't it? So I'd rather not come off the guidelines with Dan because of his issues. We have to keep close on it, because Dan wouldn't be able to tell you if he was in any discomfort or not really feeling well, so you have to read between the lines with him. So we know that it wears off on day 4 or 5, don't we? So I can forgive him the fact that towards the end of the week he was getting the hunger pangs. I'm trying to explain to him about diets. He doesn't like the word diet. He goes off on one. If you mention the word exercise, yeah, he doesn't like that. So, but he jabbed again yesterday. He weighed in. He sort of stayed about the same in the last week. So maybe he's plateauing a little bit, but we'll keep going with it and we'll keep you updated, and we'll get him back on camera at some point as well, so you can see how he's getting on, see if you notice the difference. Maybe we should do that next week. So little update on Dan. Now, I was telling you about my knee surgery, and basically it was this. So you look here, see the scar from it here. So I had to have my knee open there. Basically, you've got holding these muscles up here. So this bit of the leg, so these muscles pull this bit of the leg up like that. Well, it snapped just below the, you can see this clump of mesh in here that's been added in to attach the tendon around the kneecap here. Well, it snapped about here. So it was reattached. But it's healing well, and I'm doing this this leg press here, just to strengthen up everything around it, because I've lost quite a lot of weight off my legs. I used to have really chunky fat legs, which no more, which can only be a good thing, can't it? So, tell you one of the other big positives I've noticed, and a lot of people have mentioned this, and I think there's been research into this, and that's the pain relief power of Mounjaro. And I noticed this with the knee and the back quite early on. It's almost like taking a dose of ibuprofen in a way. And a lot of people have mentioned that it's supposed to be some sort of anti-inflammatory qualities. And even people with your polymyalgia, your fibromyalgia have mentioned this to me specifically as well. And then again, they've noticed the return of those symptoms when they come off or miss doses. So that's a really interesting one, because I've noticed I don't tend to have so much aches and pains that I used to have. I expect to have the odd bit of backache, the odd knee pain, because I've had surgery on them, but I just don't get it. I suppose the winter months will be the time to tell, and we're sort of well into the start of the winter months now, with how it's been frosty and rainy this week. But no, it's been okay. And another one I noticed yesterday, I went to the football, like I said earlier, and I decided, I was with Ben as I normally am, and I decided that I was going to go see my dad at the hospital, which is a couple of miles away from where the football was, at the Blues ground, if you know Birmingham. My dad's in at Heartlands Hospital, and Blues play down at St Andrew, just on the outside of the city centre. And I decided I was going to walk it, and I did. And I walked it. It was raining, it was cold, but I was well wrapped up. Easy, absolutely no problem, no shortness of breath. And one big thing that I've noticed, and even when it comes to the gym, I hardly sweat anymore. Tell me if you've noticed any of these good side effects. It really takes a lot to get me sweating, which when I was a big guy, when I was overweight, unhealthy, not very well, I only had to come up the stairs here and I'd be sweating. I couldn't wear heavy clothing and walk around the block because I would just sweat, and it stops. All that has really stopped. And I think that is a massive plus for me. What side effects for the good have you noticed? Let me know. So overall, the progress has been really good. Really positive, really happy with how things have gone. And if you're thinking of doing Mounjaro, Wegovy, or just getting in shape and getting fit, and you need some motivation, come and join us on our community, and it'd be great to see you. Give us a like and a subscribe, and we'll help you where we can. We put comments on, we respond to comments, everybody gets involved. Sometimes the advice is good, sometimes not so good, even from myself, because it's just my journey at the end of the day, and I'm just sharing it with you. But we all try and help, and we all try and stay pretty positive. But talking about progress and positivity, I think it's a good idea to show you the updated progress pics from some of the people that have been part of the community for a while. Have a look at these.
So Jenny has been back in touch. Jenny was in touch with me before, telling me how her progress was going, and now she's just 0.6 kilos from her goal weight. She's had some ups and downs and some nasty side effects, which she's managed to get over. But she's actually started doing one of her favourite hobbies, line dancing, which she's explained that she's able to do now, having done this since about 1998. And then because of the weight and what it was doing, she wasn't able to carry on with that. But since she's got herself almost at goal weight, she's now able to do the line dancing again. So, as I say, she's had some issues like we all have, some of the nasty side effects and things, but she's come out and look at the progress she's made here. Absolutely phenomenal progress, Jenny. So well done to you, and please keep it up. It is brilliant to hear from you. And then we have Dan, who got back in touch. Another one we saw earlier in the year that's been doing really well, saying to me that he's now only overweight rather than in the obese scale. Using a dose diary, he was telling me. Always been overweight since he was at school, and he's 36 now. started the same day as me, 26th of Feb, earlier this year. And it's been an incredible life-changing journey so far. He is doing very well. He was 25 stone, 5 pounds. Latest weigh-in this week, 14 stone, 11. So getting close to goal, he was saying. Dan, this is absolutely brilliant. More than happy to put these pictures on for you because what great progress for both of you again. So Dan, Jenny, Dan, as he explains on here, my Macca mate. I love that. It's great to hear from both of you and just keep up the progress.
So those progress pics, superb, and I love to see them because it helps keep everybody going. So well done to you guys. Absolutely love them. Keep it up and keep them coming. You want to show off how your progress has been, send them in and I'll put them on the channel for everyone to see. So yeah, workout done. On my way home now, as you can see in the car. Do I need to really dictate everything I do? You can see what I'm doing. It was a nice little workout for a Sunday. It wasn't too busy in there, which I prefer it when it's not too busy, don't we all? So I'll do a little bit more as I get more progressive into the workouts, just to see how I'm getting on really, because I literally have gone from a big guy, very overweight, very unhealthy, to a lot fitter. But there's such a long way to go, and I think I feel like I'm making myself a bit of a guinea pig for everybody out there, and I honestly don't mind doing it because it keeps me on the road to keep going. Because I don't think if I hadn't done this channel, I've said it before, I wouldn't be still doing it. I know I've got no get up and go unless there's a good reason behind it. So you guys keeping me going out there, so thank you for that. And who knows where the channel will go to. We're sort of well into it now. There's only so much we can talk about. Yes, things change. There's going to be a lot to talk about with weight loss jabs as they progress, and there's certainly the oral medications that we're all looking forward to. So those things we can talk about when they come along as well, can't we? But yeah, the things that it's all positives really, isn't it? Yeah, there's been negatives along the way, but I think if you stack them up against each other, the positives far outweigh the negatives. Yeah, there's those nasty little side effects. The sulfur burps is my one, the constipation. But you know what, small price to pay and all that. So that's this week done. I'm going to go home, I'm going to have a cup of tea and hydrate, because remember to take your water bottle to the gym. Always do that. I usually do, but because I've got the camera with me, I forgot. So slap on the wrist for that one. But have a great week. Thanks for watching. If you haven't already, give me a little subscribe and you can keep an eye on how I'm getting on. And apart from that, I'll see you next week. Have a good one. Take care.